High Limit is back in action on Thursday night in Missouri. We recap a huge week of sprint car racing, and competition director Mike Hess joins the show to give us his thoughts on the start of the season and a lot more on this week's episode of the High Limit Room. I'm Chase Rodman, the announcer for High Limit Racing. Later on in the show, we'll be joined by social media for High Limit, Brian Walker, pit reporter for High Limit, Tony Laporta, and competition director as well, Mike Hess, as he'll give us his insights on what he's thought about the season so far with Kubota High Limit Racing. Before we do get to that, we'd like to recap a bunch of things that happened this week in sprint car racing. And before we get to our High Limit Racing preview for Lucas Oil Speedway, let's take a look at some of the results from around the country, because there was a lot of money and a lot of big races that have taken place over the last 7 days since we have done a High Limit Room show. Now, the first thing we want to talk about, which was live on FloRacing all week, that was Ohio Sprint Speedweek. It's done and dusted. It's in the books for the All-Star Circuit of Champions. They were able to get 6 of the originally 9 scheduled races in the books. Bryce Lucius started things off with 2 wins in a row at the Millstream Speedway in Findlay, Ohio, which was his hometown, which is a really cool win for him. And the Wayne County Speedway, which the European mind cannot fathom. Wayne County Speedway, that place is absolutely insane every time sprint cars are on the racetrack. Emerson Axum, he got a big win at Eldora Speedway, and former high roller Parker Price Miller got a win over at the Waynesfield Raceway Park. Cole Duncan got a win for the inaugural visit to the Moeller Raceway, and then Danny Dietrich capped off the week with a $26,555 payday over at the Atomic Speedway for the Dean Nibble Memorial, and in the process, with the help of a crashing Cap Henry, he was also able to win the Speedweek title for an extra $10,000. Cap Henry doing his best Bam Margera impersonation in the heat race. He was doing a 50-50 grind on the wall at Atomic Speedway. He came into that night with a 10-point lead in the Ohio Speedweek points, and it did not last for him. He wasn't able to make the feature after that issue in the heat race. So Dietrich walked away with that championship. Congrats to him and the Gary Kaufman Racing team. Now, also taking place this week over there on the Eastern Coast, that was the USAC Eastern Storm. Justin Grant able to get 2 victories during the week at Port Royal and Bridgeport. Kyle Cummins, a winner at the Big Diamond Speedway, and Kevin Thomas Jr. was the bravest of them all at the Williams Grove Speedway without the wing on top of the car. They still have one more race to run over there at the Action Track USA in Kutztown, Pennsylvania, to determine the Eastern Storm champion. And also did want to give a shout out to Dason Persley, who was able to get a Silver Crown win over at the Port Royal Speedway as well during the Eastern Storm. So nice job by DP. Now let's get into what else happened this week. Another big race, this one taking place on the West Coast with NARC After Dark, which is always exciting stuff. We had 3 nights of racing at the super racy Skagit Speedway for the Super Dirt Cup. Thursday night's prelim was stolen late in the race by a huge surprise and a huge upset winner in Canada's Levi Klatt, as he passed high roller Justin Peck to score his first 410 sprint car race win in just his 16th career start. He was drinking maple syrup in victory lane. His whatever you want to call it, his signature move whenever he wins a race is drinking maple syrup. An absolutely insane win. The next night, he wasn't even able to make the show, but it didn't matter because he had a $5,000 win on Thursday night. And then on Friday, James McFadden looked like he was poised to take down a $10,000 prelim night win until Justin Sanders snuck by him around the outside on the final lap to win in exciting fashion. Justin Sanders led only 1 lap of that race, but it was the one that paid the big money. And then when it comes to the real big money, it was on Saturday for a $100,000 paycheck on the line at the Washington-based facility, and the money is going to stay in the state of Washington, as Puyallup's own Trey Starks won his first career Dirt Cup in relatively dominating fashion. He started on the pole. Tanner Holmes did get by him midway through the race, but then Starks took the lead back after an open red, and he did not look back. He's been racing at Skagit for more than 15 years and finally got his first ever Dirt Cup win win. A crown jewel at that racetrack, a crown jewel on the West Coast, and it was great to see Trey Starks finally break through and get the job done. And this one paid over $110,000 with the lap money involved as well. You could tell just how emotional it was for Starks to get that win, and we're looking forward to getting up there with High Limit Racing later on this year for the Skagit Nationals. That one will also pay more than $100,000 to win. So congrats to Trey Starks, Justin Sanders, and Levi Klatt on their wins over there in Washington. Now, the other big race that took place, of course, was the Husets High Bank Nationals, which was handled for most of the week by kind of two drivers, Bill Baylog and Buddy Kofoid. They were the dominant forces over there. Kyle Larson, the only other driver to get a win during the 4 nights over there in Brandon, South Dakota. He got a prelim night win on Wednesday, but Thursday it was all about Buddy Kofoid. He grabbed a $100,000 win at the Husets Hustle, and then Friday night, after running second to Buddy on that $100,000 to win race, Bill Baylog was able to get the victory for $20,000. And then on the finale, it was another battle, sure enough, between Bill Baylog and Buddy Kofoid. And Kofoid, in that one, would take down the $250,000 win. So in the span of 3 days, Kofoid won over $350,000. And if you go in the span of 2 weeks, it was over $400,000-ish, because he also got the win during the Eagle Nationals with High Limit Racing. So an incredible 2 weeks for Buddy Kofoid, and it is certainly 2 weeks that he will not forget. He's now just one of 3 drivers to win $200,000 to win shows in the span of 1 week. So the Roth Motorsports number 83 is set for the rest of the year. If everything bad happened for the rest of the year, I think Roth Motorsports 83 car and Buddy Kofoid would still be happy with how things went over there at Oil Speedway. So congrats to them. Congrats to Bill Baylog and Kyle Larson as well on their wins. Now let's get into the race preview, because upcoming this week we do have 3 nights of action with High Limit Racing taking place at the Diamond of Dirt Tracks. It is the Diamond Classic for High Limit Racing over at the Lucas Oil Speedway. High Limit's been off for about maybe a week and a half, 2 weeks or so, but we've got a 3-day show ready to go on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. That is the 26th, 27th, and 28th of June. Later on this week when you are watching this video, the first night will be a Roto-Rooter Midweek Series special, and this is one to keep an eye on for sure, especially when it comes to the mini championship. There's a bonus paid out to the top 3 in the Midweek Series point standings at the end of the year. Rico Abreu, just a 7-point lead over Aaron Reitzel, an 8-point lead over Brad Sweet, and a 10-point lead over Tanner Thorson, who has been very, very good in these Midweek Series races. They have 5 races in the books for the Midweek Series and about 5 or 6 left to run. So things are very tight at the top of the point standings there. High Limit did make 2 stops last year at Lucas Oil Speedway, and the first one in June was an exciting feature that had 5 different leaders in the race. Cy Lynch, Corey Day, and Brad Sweet all took turns leading this event, but the eventual winner was Tyler Courtney. He started 9th on the field. He claimed the Durst dice roll, and he got a big win there, and it was very, very exciting. The fans were treated to one hell of a show over there. Brad Sweet, James McFadden, Tanner Thorson, and Cy Lynch ended up in the top 5 there. McFadden and Thorson both started outside the top 10 to make their way into the top 5. And so if we can just see a little bit of that action as well, it is going to be a great show. Then in October, we came back for the makeup race after we rained out the second night of the Diamond Classic, and Brad Sweet was able to grab the $25,000 win there after Ryan Timms led early in that main event, suffered a mechanical failure. That handed the lead right to Brad Sweet, and he would go on to win with Tyler Courtney in second, Spencer Baston third, Corey Day fourth, and Casey Kane would end up in the top 5 for that one. We're expecting about 30-plus cars to show up to this one, including Kyle Larson. He'll make his Lucas Oil Speedway debut on Thursday night for that Roto-Rooter Midweek Series. And then for the rest of the week, we're expecting 30-plus cars. Last year, I think we had 36 during the Diamond Classic. So should be a very, very good field at easily, I don't know if easily is the right word, but I mean, one of top 3, top 2 best facilities in all of the country, and it's been putting on some really, really good racing action as well over the last couple of years, and we're looking forward to getting over there to Wheatland, Missouri this Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Now, into our second segment of the show, myself and either Brian Walker or Tony Laporta able to sit down with High Limit Racing Competition Director Mike Hess. He wears a lot of hats in the realm of High Limit Racing, whether that's competition director, track prep guy, whatever you want. Mike Hess, he is the jack of all trades with High Limit, and we get to hear his thoughts on how he thinks things have gone so far this year with Kubota High Limit Racing. All right, we are now joined by your favorite race director. Of course, that is Mike Hess with Kubota High Limit Racing. Mike, thanks for joining the show today. Great to catch up with you. You always love talking to Tony and I know that. You just love chatting with us. But just wanted to bring you on this week and talk about, what's taken place so far. We're getting close to halfway through the year here with High Limit Racing. I think we're at 19 or 20 races in the books. How would you say things have gone here in year 2 so far as High Limit's on its second year of being on a national tour?
Well, I think things are rolling along pretty good. Just trying to get in the groove of getting the shows done efficiently and making sure everybody gets their time and making sure Tony doesn't get run over on the racetrack.
Yeah, and I appreciate you looking out for me all the time, Mike. You're always a friendly voice in my and producer Tyler McKim's ear, so thank you for always having our best interest at heart. Chase introduces you as America's favorite race director. I think that's what he should have said. But you're not just the race director for Kubota High Limit Racing, series director, and I feel like that's a really big job. You were the race director at the World of Outlaws. You've race directed a lot of different things, but now moving into the series director role, I just can't imagine how much more has been put on your plate. What's something that you've been tasked with as a series director that, you never had to deal with before as the race director?
It's just a little more communication stuff, a little more of the day-to-day operation stuff that I have to be involved in that I didn't, which I knew signing up what I was getting into. So just a few more things added to the plate. A little growth from year 1 to 2. We got a little bit hired a little bit more help, so it freed me up race nights to kind of concentrate on that series director role a little more. And it's odd to not go help hang banners and do this and do that and kind of sit back and put out fires other places instead. So just little added extra stuff here and there that you don't think about, a little more communication with teams and whatnot that I didn't have before per se, and just more overall involvement with the overall show, all the way from the race director spot, but then also pit area announcers, dealing with with you guys to make sure we're all on the same page, dealing with Tyler McKim and Flo and making sure they're in the loop on everything. And then it's just a lot of communication.
Yeah, one thing that's different from this year compared to last year, like you mentioned there, we have a lot more people on the staff. I feel like last year, I feel like there was like 7 people that went to every race. This year we've got maybe more, around 10, which is always nice. You mentioned not having to help hang up banners this year, which was part of our main gig in 2024, but we still do it a little bit here this year. But Mike, this year and last year as well, what's been one of your favorite things? I feel like for me, one of my favorite things after being with the Outlaws for a couple of years, obviously you were there for longer than me, but is going to a bunch of new racetracks. I feel like that's been really fun, but also that can present a challenge for, a guy in your position trying to figure out how to qualify cars, where the, infield work area needs to be at. What's that been like the last 2 years, going to so many different racetracks and having to figure those things out? Because, for the Outlaw side of things, it was maybe 1 or 2 new tracks per year. But with us, it seems like every other week we're going somewhere new.
It's just part of the job. I think that's one of the things I'm better at, is just looking at the overall racetrack and kind of having a plan right off the bat of knowing kind of how we want to do things and where we want to push and what we want to do. And I think that's probably one of my better strong points of working things, is being able to just glance at something and say, this is going to work, this isn't going to work. Usually being pretty close. Obviously things don't go to plan every time, but most of the time we're pretty close to what is envisioned, and things roll off without a hitch.
Mike, you come to the role of race director, now series director, with what I think is a very rare point of view. I don't know every single race director and every single series director in the country's background, but I know yours. And you didn't grow up as an official. You weren't standing in the corners holding the flag. You were in the seat. You were driving race cars. Long time, competed a lot at Angel Park back in Wisconsin, and you've run Silver Crown cars, you've raced sprint cars, you've raced midgets. You still make it out to the Chili Bowl a lot, especially lately when you try to be like Chase and I and wear a flow hat and be an announcer, which, you're getting good at that, but I'd stick to the race directing thing, just my POV. But you come at this job with a lot of racing experience, and that sets you apart, I think, from the average race director, the average series director, and you talk to the drivers, I think, the way that they want to be talked to. Are you always looking at things as a racer first and then an official second? Or how do you kind of work through a night, whatever it may be, organizing a schedule, dealing with a delay, advising on track prep, whatever it is? Are you always thinking racer first, or do you bounce around and compartmentalize how you look at a situation?
I wish I could say I looked at a racer first, but through the years now of doing this, I still go race some just to have that aspect fresh in my mind of what a driver's seeing in the seat and feeling in the seat. So yeah, I still go race them just to fulfill that little bit of need for speed and a little bit to keep myself fresh on the official side. But with anything, it's a business, so a lot of decisions have to be made with the business in mind, and then what's best for an event or best for the situation. And sometimes that isn't the racer's point of view. Sometimes that's the series director point of view. Sometimes it is the racer's point of view. But I think anytime you're trying to make a decision, you're just trying to look at the overall event and what is going to be overall best for that event, that situation, to have the best outcome for everyone in attendance, from fans to racers to people watching at home. So a lot of different things to take into play when you make a decision. And the internet, it says it's easy, but man, there's so many things you think about when you're making a decision to cancel for weather, or if a place is too wet or not too wet, or if a track's ready to go race, and if a track needs some track prep. There's so many different things in your mind coming into play. It's not just let's do this and go. So definitely bounce around on that quite a bit.
Now, one of Tony's favorite things to do is look at Facebook comments, and a big misconception in the Facebook comments is, whether it's High Limit or the Outlaws, is that the series has all the control over the track prep. The track prep, the series wants it to be fast, like that's what the drivers want. They want it to be super fast all night. That's what everybody likes to say in the comment section, right? It's very rare, I feel like, for the series to be heavily involved in the track prep. Now, you do give some thoughts or some tips or whatever here and there to certain tracks. When we go to tracks that know what they're doing, like a Lawrenceburg, for example, they race there a lot. They know what to do. But one that came to mind for me was Red Cedar. That was the first time they'd had sprint cars there in a long time, and it sounded like you were pretty heavily involved with how that went as far as the track prep, and obviously it was a very good race. I feel like you have an advantage over maybe some other race directors in the country that, with that racing background, a midget guy, you've ran wing sprint cars, what it takes to put on a good race and what the track conditions need to be. Do you think that that's something you have over maybe some other guys in your position to help make the racing a little bit better?
I don't think so, for coming from the racer's background. I think it just comes from doing this for almost 10 years now. I think you just learn. I chose to learn what a track needs. When I raced, I didn't pay attention to track prep other than to know what I needed to do for my race car. So I guess I learned how to read a track at that point. But now going into a track, Brad's always there. They have Chico, so he's always giving his opinion of what it needs and whatnot. And I'm kind of the liaison that says, hey, this is what we're going to do. And, he brought up Red Cedar, and the guys there were great to work with. They run stock cars a lot, so they were willing to listen to how we prep a track a little different. We just don't get the surface quite as tight as they would for a heavy stock car. So, I don't think my racing background helps a lot, other than, like I said, reading the track to know what I wanted to do for my race car. So now I read the track and kind of just try to know what to do to try to put on the best race for everybody.
Mike, a couple of years ago when we were both at WRG, I got the chance to make a video with you about kind of a night in the life with the race director, and we scanned your receiver and we dropped in clips of audio. And I think that's one of the coolest things about sprint car racing, right? I grew up watching NASCAR, watching IndyCar, where there's two-way radio communication and there's all these different layers of how race control talks to the drivers. Well, not in sprint car racing. You have a direct line to the driver's ears out on track, and they cannot talk back to you. I think that is so unique to dirt track racing, and something that always piques my interest is that communication, right, between you and the drivers. And I know you've keyed up probably 5 million times over your career to tell drivers something, whatever it is, right? Do you have like a moment, or do you have like a call or a thing you have pushed the button down and said to drivers, a driver, a group of drivers, that really sticks out in your mind? Funny, maybe you look back and go, man, I might have made those guys cry. That was a little too mean. I think Hanford last year comes to mind, and I'm not asking for word, but unless you want to share a word for word, do you have like a call over the years over the receiver that you think back and go, man, I can't believe I said that to those guys?
Oh, there's a couple different times for sure. I think what makes me sometimes a better race director is keeping that even keel all the way across and not getting too excited, but I'm guilty. There's times where I get a little wired up, and Hanford last year, we're just trying to put on a good race. I basically told them to act like they're professional race car drivers. Another time, and I got sent to the office at WRG I don't know the exact race. I don't remember the exact car. I remember the exact car number. It was a 5M, and like I said, I don't remember who it was, but something happened. I said, let's do this, and they did exactly opposite, and I basically said, well, 5M must stand for 5 moron over the driver radio. I was like, I got sent to the office for that one, and probably shouldn't have said it, but I think it gets the point across, like, I'm not there to just be a bad guy and yell, and I'm just trying to put on a good race for everybody. So I think that one sticks out to me. The rest of them just kind of blur into the past.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, a lot of people also, in those aforementioned Facebook comments say that, since you were hired by, Brad and Kyle, that you're going to give them a little bit of leniency. Well, we are very transparent here with High Limit Racing, and, I've already seen this year several times where, you've either put back Brad a row, or, obviously the Butler incident happened, or I think Kyle's been, docked a row for jumping a start or whatever as well. I don't think people realize, because they just don't know you. Like, you don't care who it is. If they cause an infraction of any type, they're gonna get docked. And I feel like this year, especially with the Brad situations that have happened, I think you've proven that. And I just think that people have this misconception, or they just think that it's all an inside job, that you are trying to give these guys the better calls. But how do you handle that? I mean, obviously at this point, they're just another competitor out there on the racetrack.
Yeah, it's well known. Like, when we get to the track, it's not boss employee relationship. I'm in charge of the racetrack, and I'm going to call it how I see it. Period. Sometimes I don't see it the same as other people. Sometimes I do, but I've done that since day one when I started in 2015 at Skagit with the World Outlaws. I just call it the way I see it. Doesn't matter who it is. Doesn't matter the car. Doesn't matter the situation. You just try to be quick with it. You make your initial decision and you live with it, right or wrong. I've definitely called starts back that I went back and looked at and said, well, that was wrong. And I'll contact the driver that I penalized and say, look, I screwed up. That was my fault. It's a learning moment for me. And I think that's garnered me a little bit of respect with a lot of the racers, because they know if I do screw up, I'll go look at it and say, hey, I missed that one. You try not to do that, because that's a lot of guys' livelihoods that are out there. So you try to be perfect 100% of the time, just because that's their life, their livelihood, their food on their table and their house is determined on how they race. So you don't want to be an equation. You don't want to be part of that equation. You just want to try to give them a fair playing field.
Chase brings up a really good point, and Mike, this is probably my last question, and it's again, you know, you do some things sometimes that leave people scratching their heads, mostly just the people who work with you. And one of the things you do that I'm a big fan of, and I'm a big fan of it because I think it's probably pretty hard. And I want you to correct me if I'm wrong in that assumption, or you just tell me about this. But like, okay, you come at the job with driving experience and racing experience, and that makes you a lot more on our competitors' levels because they know that you know what you're talking about. But
Well, I pretend I do anyway.
And you do a great job at it, honestly. I think an Oscar could be in your future somehow. But you do the really hard thing, which is you don't really maintain personal relationships with the competitors. Whether that's the drivers, like tier one, I think you do a very good job at keeping it separate between you, the race director, and the drivers. Meaning, I've worked with race directors in all kinds of different motorsports who are hanging out with the drivers when the night is over. They're going to basketball games with the drivers. They're going to the bar with the drivers. They are doing stuff with the drivers and their teams. And again, I haven't been around for your whole career. I don't know everything, but I feel like you are very good at once the night is over, you get your stuff, you and Ashley get out of the trailer and you guys leave, or you stay separate from the teams and the drivers. My question is that hard? Because we race with a lot of really cool people. We're all on the road together for so long. You get to know these drivers, their families, the teams, the crew guys, but you have to be impartial and you can't get too close. Has that ever been hard? Has there ever been a driver or a team that you've been like, I'd really like to do something with them. I'd like to go spend time on the road, but you can't risk being seen and you can't risk tainting that job you do of being impartial?
I don't think I actively try not to do things with guys. I think that's just how our schedules work out. I live in Florida, so, you know, when we're done, Ashley and I go home to Florida and whatnot. I mean, I've definitely, even with the World Outlaw days, you know, we've went on rafting or canoe. We went tubing down rivers with teams. I mean, we've definitely, I've had interactions with guys and I'm friends with some of the drivers, but I think it's easy for me to just know that line. Like, and I think they know that line. Like, when it comes to race night, I have a job to do, they have a job to do. And I hope I instilled them with enough trust that I just do my job as I see it, not as a friend, as anything. I just do my job as this is it. So, I mean, I don't actively try to hang out with drivers. I think that's how our schedules work. I still talk to quite a few guys. I mean, if they have questions or anything, they'll text or whatnot, but we don't hang out, I think, just because of the logistics of how our lives go, honestly. And I think that helps too, though. It makes it easier for us not to, I mean, I wouldn't get too close to where it's going to be in my thought process of a call at any time.
Mike, final question from me here before we wrap this up. This year we've had some new additions to the series. One of them, maybe all of our favorite addition, has been the new command center. I mean, last year we were working out of a go-kart trailer essentially with a window on the side of it. And this year we've got a stacker trailer, 53-footer with the full wrap on it. We've got the big screen now. But, just kind of focusing in on the command center, how nice is that to have now? I mean, last year it was like we didn't have enough room in there. There was like the max capacity was like 6.5 people, especially if Tony was in there, it was down to 4.5. But it was a tight squeeze in there. But now with this new command center, I feel like it makes us look more professional. Obviously, there's a lot of desk room in there. How nice is that this year to have a nice place to go into with AC and be able to hang out, and it gives a place for the drivers to come in and if they need to talk to you about a certain thing, they have a private space to do that.
It's definitely nice. I mean, the old trailer kept us close as an official group. I mean, we all didn't enjoy it, but there's times when all 8 of us would be sitting around in there and bullshitting and telling stories, and I think that keeps a closer knit, official group. The new trailer is nice. it's nice that they give us some resources to help do our jobs better and keep us more comfortable. But it's definitely, I mean, you go back to the series director, like when we got winded out and snowed out of Dodge City, that started a month-long process of, I went to Oklahoma City, picked up the truck. The trailer was in transit to Lucas Oil Shop in Batavia. It started a whole process after them races of getting that ready to go. I mean, you guys come up and help clean, help move stuff. Like it was a group effort to have that thing ready to roll down the road. And now Kenny's got 2 weeks. He's been at home fixing up the few little things that we didn't have time because we basically got done racing or got snowed out, went home, picked it up, and just worked to get it ready to go down the road again to a month long worth of races. So it's definitely nice to have. It's more on the plate. It's more maintenance. It's more to keep track of, but the right people in place do a good job of keeping the stuff rolling down the road.
Well, and in that old trailer, you could always hear what Chase was watching on his phone, Mike. I feel like in this new trailer...
I mean, you can do it in the new trailer, too. You know what he's watching. Come on, Tony. You can be at the other end.
You could do it in a crowded restaurant. You can hear what Chase is watching on his phone.
Yes. Chase rode with me once from track last year to Indy, and he started watching something, and I said, "What in the hell are you doing?"
Yeah. Yeah,
I remember that. I don't remember what I was watching, but you were interested in it, Mike, I think.
I was interested in why the hell am I hearing your phone?
We're all going to pool together over the offseason and get Chase some earphones, and we're going to get really nice ones, and we're going to tie them to his neck so he can't
I got them right here. They're already in.
Okay, remember those when we go on the road this week.
Okay, yeah, I'll remember that. All right, well, Mike, thanks for jumping on here and chatting with us here. We appreciate your time, and we will see you on Thursday over at Lucas Oil Speedway. Tony, great chatting with you as well, as always. Love it. So, Mike, thanks again, and we'll see you in a few days. Thank you. All right, now we are into our third segment of the show. We are now joined by Brian Walker and Tony Laporta, of course, pit reporter for the series and social media for High Limit Racing as well. In this segment, we usually talk to you about some of the maybe the best bets coming up for a race or for some of the races just passed, but we haven't had any races here recently with High Limit, so we'll get into maybe some predictions for Lucas Oil Speedway. If you would like to partake and play for real cash, go to nxtbets.com/playhlr. You could get a sign-up bonus there and also show you which sports books are available in your region. So, Brian and Tony, great to be back here on the High Limit Room. Tony, as always, is on the go, and we've got the IMSA shirt back on. Tony, where are you hanging out at this weekend?
Chase, I am in upstate New York as I am public address announcing for the IMSA WeatherTech Sports Car Championship. Right now, happening just outside this radio room in the media center here, is the Salen's 6 hours at the Glen. They started about 2 hours ago, and when they're done, I will go back down and MC Victory Lane. So if you've never been to Watkins Glen International, I highly recommend it. Beautiful racetrack, beautiful area, super cool place to be.
Were you wearing your High Limit hat at the beginning, or did you have a different hat on?
No, I was not wearing my High Limit hat on. I wear the logos of the group that pays me at that time. But I did meet a few High Limit fans on the grid during the pre-race fan grid walk after we left our pit stop demonstration. One fan came up to me who was at Outlaw Speedway last year when we were there during the month of May. He recognized me, and he asked where you were, Chase. I said, probably still in bed. I did see a fan with a Justin Grant t-shirt on, #USAC, and I even saw a David Gravel t-shirt walking through the crowd here at the Salem 6 hours at the Glen with IMSA. So sprint car racing is being well represented here with the sports car guys in town.
That is good. And Brian, looks like since the last time we've talked, you might have had a couple pieces of furniture back there in your new house.
Just the TV. That's it.
Oh,
I got a TV. It's like stools over there. I'd sit on stools and watch TV. I should have a couch, and I should have furniture by the time I think we record the next one.
Okay, that's big. That's big. Tony, I'll have you know I just cooked up some steak on my new grill, so you'll be happy to hear that.
Why don't you ever do that for us on the road?
What'd you cook?
I cooked up some steaks, some New York strips.
Oh, good. Good.
Yeah.
Were they good?
So I haven't eaten them yet. I had to jump on here and film the high limit room, so I'll eat them when we get done. It's gonna be a little cold, but it'll be fine. It's gonna be good.
And that's what I love about working with you, Chase, is you always put your job first.
Yeah.
You're a company guy. You don't worry about feeding yourself, getting enough sleep. You always put the job first, and that is what I love about working with you.
Yeah, thank you so much. That
Chase.
means a lot. Ryan, what?
Tony has fed us before. Why don't you ever feed us? He's cooked.
I'll have to bring my Weber grill. It's called the Traveler for a reason.
Hey.
I can throw it in the back of the rental car.
We have an Airbnb this weekend too at Lucas Oil, so we'll have our own kitchen, everything.
I'll put the Weber in my
go.
carry-on bag. The Weber's going on the carry-on. We'll make sure to get that on the United Airlines flight. But we've got some racing to talk about coming up for High Limit after having about 2 weeks off here, guys. Lucas Oil Speedway coming up for 3 nights. It's the Diamond Classic. It's 3 nights straight over there at Lucas Oil Speedway. So looking forward to getting back over there. Maybe the best facility in all of dirt track racing. We went there 2 times last year. The winners were Tyler Courtney and Brad Sweet. And that win for Sunshine last year, Tony, was very, very exciting. He came from 9th. He was the Durst Ice Roll driver. There were 5 different leaders in the feature. So I think we can all say that we're looking forward to getting back to the Diamond dirt tracks.
Yeah, absolutely. And the name is fitting. The Classic is a perfect name for it. What a cool venue. Kind of a ways out there. But everything that's worth it in life is worth putting that little bit of extra time, that extra hour in the car, whatever it is. When you have a venue like Lucas Oil Speedway, super worth it. Yeah, Tyler Courtney goes 9th to 1st last year. On top of that, like you mentioned, Durst Ice Roller, so that was super exciting to watch him charge from the back of the top 10. And James McFadden went 13th to 3rd that night. And I remember the big story from that first night of our 2-night weekend out there. If I remember correctly, the second night we got stormed out. There were tornadoes miles from the track, if I'm remembering that correctly. Yeah, McFadden goes 13th to 3rd. But what I really remember when I think about our first trip back to Lucas Oil was my first really good look at Cy Lynch. He started that race on the pole position. He ran up front for a while, if I'm remembering it correctly, ended up fading, finished in the 5th position. But it was whoa, Cy Lynch put a lot of people on notice. Brian, I'm pretty sure you did after the checkers with him after that race was over. And that was man, this guy's serious. And how fortunate are we to get him and his team to commit to being high rollers the very following season here in 2025. So yeah, Lucas Oil is always really fun to go out to. They got the little kids go-kart track behind the grandstands. I got to race those. My Apple Watch thought I was doing a workout. So that's kind of a wake-up call for me. But I love going to Lucas Oil Speedway. That's going to be a really fun weekend. And it's 3 nights now, so even more to look forward to.
Yeah, it's going to be on June 26th, 27th, and 28th later on this week. The 26th, that Thursday night race, is a Roto-Rooter midweek series event. And then, of course, the 2 nights after that for regular high limit racing points as well. Brian, we talk about Tyler Courtney there. He has not been able to win a high limit racing event there this year. But as we just mentioned, he won from 9th the first night there. And then when we had the makeup date later on in October, he finished 2nd in that feature as well. So could be a really good place for the 7BC to get back to high limit victory lane for the first time this year, and might be a good guy to put $5 or $10 on if you're looking to wager on it.
Yeah, Sonny's always been real good at Lucas Oil Speedway. I remember, probably 2017 or so, I went there for a Power Eye midget show, and he dominated that back when he and Klaus and Marshall were together in midget racing. And then last year, he was obviously the class of the field, going, 9th to 1st. I think it was, or I guess it was literally 2 days after Corey Day went 15th to 1st.
Exactly.
Yeah, but still, regardless, anytime you win from outside the dash, it's impressive. And then coming back running 2nd again, they're on a heater right now. Obviously, that win at Knoxville gave them some momentum, and Husets all 4 nights they were competitive. I think I don't know if they're in the top 10 every night, but they were around there all 4 nights. So it'll be interesting to see how the 7BC does, and hopefully finally puts his name on the win column this year with us.
Yeah, Tony mentioned Cy Lynch there. He led laps last year and needs a place to kind of turn things around and get back going the right direction. So maybe this is a place that he could do that. Another guy that was good there last year, Tony, was Tanner Thorson. He was running second on the October race, but he lost an engine, and then he was, I want to say, 15th to 4th on the first night as well. So Lynch and Thorson, maybe a couple other guys to take a look at if you're looking at maybe putting a couple of bucks on the race.
I was trying to get your attention, Chase, because, yeah, I glanced right over Tanner, which, I feel like a lot of people have that problem. They look right over him, and it's unfair. McFadden, I'm looking at the results right here, 13th to 3rd. Lynch did go backwards, but it was a standout race for him. But, yeah, Tanner Thorson went 14th to 4th back in June when we were there for the first night. And, again, we've hit on it a lot on this show. You've talked a lot about it during the nightly broadcast. Tanner and Britton and TJ and that Rod Gross Motorsports number 88, they have found something recently. I talked to them. They really just have changed how they prep. They've changed how they do engine maintenance, and they're really happy with what that is getting them in terms of reliability. And I think that based on how well they did here last summer, it should not come as a surprise to anyone if Thorson and that 88 are up near the front. It's a track he likes a lot. He's obviously in a good place right now. I think it could be another really good weekend for Thorson.
Definitely agree with that. And when we go into that one on Thursday, the midweek series, we've had 5 races so far, and the top 4 in points in that little bonus for the bonus money in the midweek series separated by just 10 points. It's Rico showing the way, then 7 back to Brad, 8 back to Tyler Courtney, I believe, and then 10 back. Or no, sorry, it's Reitzel 7 back. Sweet 8 back, and then Thorson 10 back. So top 4 separated by 10 points. That's exciting, and there is extra money on the line there for the top 3 in the midweek series point standing. So keep that in mind as we roll on through the night over there on Thursday. We know Kyle Larson will be there as well, his first ever trip to the Diamond and Dirt track, so that'll be fun to watch. Guys, I want to get into some of the racing that took place this week outside of High Limit because it was a huge week in sprint car racing. We had Skagit going on, 100,000 to win. We had 350 grand up on the line at Husets. We had Ohio Sprint Week going on as well. Let's start things off with Skagit. I was paying attention to Skagit all week long because I love that track and I love that event. And with it being 100,000 to win, it's always exciting. Brian, how about Levi Klatt on Thursday night? The prelim winner, he stole it from Justin Peck. They got a kind of a lucky yellow there at the end to keep him up front, but that was a huge surprise for Levi Klatt to get the win there over at the Dirt Cup.
Yeah, that was awesome to watch. I remember going to, I want to say, like, it was the Clay Cup at Deming like 10 years ago, and Levi Klatt was there. And now he's up in sprint cars. And what was it like a 16th 410 start, I think? Yeah, I mean, and yeah, you can say maybe he got a lucky yellow, but he still drove around Justin Peck. And he still held off Shane Golobic and Justin Sanders and James McFadden and everyone that was there. So that was awesome to see. His celebration was cool. The maple syrup. I heard Caleb Hart hyping it up the whole time, and then we got to see it. So that was really awesome to see. And just all 3 nights at Skagit really delivered. I texted Blake Anderson the other night, and I was like, dude, I think I got to go to Dirt Cup next year.
Yeah, it's awesome. And Tony, the second night, the first night we saw McFadden get upside down twice in one feature. He had a roller coaster of a week. He won a bunch of races during the fastest 5 days, and then he flips twice on the first prelim night. Then he's leading the second prelim night, and then on the last lap, Justin Sanders able to drive around him on the outside and take the lead after McFadden led, I want to say, laps 7 through 29. So just another banger of a race on the second night as well. But McFadden, man, what a roller coaster of emotions it had to be for him. And then he ends up third in the finale. But that Sanders victory was very, very exciting as well.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll be honest, I'm out here in New York with the sports cars, and I'm going to tell you guys, their mornings and their days start a lot earlier. They actually have mornings at the racetrack in this racing. So I did not get a chance to watch nearly as much Skagit as I would like. Brian, I'm just like you. I love that track. I love that part of the country, and I love Kevin Rudeen, right, and what he does for the sport and how much he puts into that event up there, just, that one weekend alone, not counting everything else he supports in the sport. But yeah, McFadden, what did he do? I think he scored 4 out of 5 of the fastest 5 days, right? He has just meshed with everybody over at Tarleton super, super well. Not a surprise. One of, if not the greatest sprint car driver to come out of Australia. McFadden rips. And Justin Sanders, we got to see a ton of him. when we were out on the West Coast last fall, a little bit more this spring with High Limit. So, and I remember he was good when we were out there at Skagit for the Sage Fruit Skagit Nationals last fall when we wrapped up our West Coast swing. So, yeah, Justin Sanders, James McFadden, couple guys that you always can count on being good anywhere they go, but especially on the West Coast. And, yeah, Levi Klatt, just a note on that. Super cool to see him. He was super gracious to talk with when we were out there on the West Coast last fall, and a guy that you could tell is just really, really grateful to be in a good position. So for him to get that prelim night one victory, that's a big deal. I mean, just it's so far been a summer of big surprise victories, I feel like, in sprint car racing.
Okay, so we lost Tony. I guess the Watkins Glen Wi-Fi, not the best, but hopefully he's able to jump back on here. But now it's a two-man show here. But Brian, night 2 at Skagit, Sanders steals the win on the last lap from McFadden, who had flipped twice the night before, had a roller coaster of a weekend. But exciting stuff there from the 2X, and I feel like that's a little bit of redemption from Sanders because if I remember right, he was leading with us at Douglas County last year, and McFadden passed him with a couple laps to go and stole the win there. So maybe a little bit of redemption there, and Sanders got the win there. It was $10,000 for that prelim night win, so exciting stuff there on night 2 as well.
Yeah, the same duo with McFadden first and Sanders second ran 1-2 at Placerville with us last year too. So they've out there on the West Coast, they like running up front together. But yeah, like night 2, after we have night 1, and it's this awesome story with Levi Klatt passing Justin Peck, and we come back and Sanders beats McFadden in a great race. I mean, I know I'm kind of getting ahead of ourselves going to night 3, but all 3 nights, just incredible racing at Skagit. Those guys did an amazing job with the track. Such exciting racing, and come down to that last lap pass was really exciting come Friday night.
Yeah, and then on Saturday, of course, last year we saw Trey Starks with an unbelievable 2 nights with High Limit, got a win at Grays Harbor, and then did it again the very next night at Skagit. And then, that he's been racing at Skagit for I think he said 16 years or 15 years or something in his Victory Lane interview, had somehow never won a dirt cup, even though he's been so dominant at the racetrack, especially here in recent years. And for him to win the dirt cup finally, and get it when it's $100,000 to win, he gets an extra $10,000 in the lap money. That was an emotional Victory Lane. That was super cool to see him get the job done. And the money stays in Washington. That's cool. Tanner Holmes was close. He led a few laps. He ends up second, McFadden third. But I mean, what can you say about Trey Starks, man? That win right there just made his entire season.
Yeah, this goes back to kind of what I said last week too on the High Limit Room. I love that Dirt Cup is on the same weekend as Husets, whereas guys like Trey Starks, it was Trey Starks versus Tanner Holmes for $102,000 or $100,000. That's amazing to see. I mean, either way, it was going to go to an incredibly deserving team, and the 55 and the 18T, I'm excited to see how they run when we go back out there, obviously. Will Tanner be... Yes, Tanner will be in the 18T still when we go out there, right?
I believe that's the plan, yeah, and McFadden will still be in the 21T. Brian, of course, is alluding to the Skagit Nationals when High Limit Racing heads out there on August 28th, 29th, and 30th. That will also be a $100,000 to win feature there. So, if we can get anything like we saw at Dirt Cup for Skagit Nationals, then it is going to be action-packed there. So congrats to Trey Starks, man. Love that guy, and that was cool to see him get the job done over there. Now, the other big race that took place, obviously, Brian, was the Houston Speedway High Bank Nationals and the Hustle. And the main storyline out of that one is Buddy Kofoid with the Eagle Nationals win about a week and a half ago in what you tweeted it, I think it was 12-day span. He made over, $450-something thousand, which I almost replied to you, but I did not. But going into this Husets weekend, Gravel was leading the money earned category with $247,000, I think. And Kofoid in the last 2 weeks has made $450,000. Wow. I mean, Buddy, going into that week, I feel like he was the odds-on favorite, and he proved that was that should have been the case.
Yeah, I mean, he was definitely the guy. A lot of us in the industry were like, it's the 83s to lose, and the 83 did not lose it. They're so good there. I mean, you go back to when he should have won the 250 several years ago, and the motor let go, and to come back, win $100,000 last year after they rescheduled, and then to sweep it this year. He's on kill when it comes to Houston Speedway right now. Between him, Dylan Buswell, Nate Knotts, and John, they have everything figured out. Everything's going their way when they roll out of the gate there. And, I mean, it was awesome to see too. I mean, it's a cool story. Connor Wade mentioned post-race. It's like the third time in history, which, I mean, I think you could only do it a few times anyways, but Brent Marks obviously won 2 6 figures at Eldora. David Gravel did it as well. And now Buddy at Husets. So it's just it's a monumental moment, really. Like, I mean, that's something Buddy Kofoid is going to remember for the rest of his life. It's really cool to see. And the other storyline is Bill Baylog, too.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, what a week for him. That was so cool to see the North Pole Nightmare run as well as he did.
I did kind of feel bad for him, though, because he leads the 100,000 to win race. He ends up in second, and then he wins the next night, but the next night is only worth 20 grand or 25 grand, I think it was. So, I mean, it was redemption, but it was about $80,000 less of redemption. But Baylog still with a second, and a first on the week, plus a 7th place finish on the Wednesday night. So, yeah, that was great to see him. You know, I think you've already mentioned Connor Wade, but I think he mentioned as well. I mean, Bill Baylog, as blue collar as it gets, this guy is working with a lot less, resources than the rest of the teams out there. He's working on the car. He's driving the truck and trailer. For him to run podium 3 of the 4 nights there, I mean, that is a week that is going to help him in the long run for the rest of the season out there. And that was just awesome to see. And I think it's hard to not be a Bill Baylog fan. I mean, he's just an awesome dude.
Yeah, what did second pay on Thursday? I want to say maybe 25,000.
Yeah, I think it was 20.
I'm pulling the first
it was 20 or 25. Yeah.
25, yeah. So, I mean, he got 25 there, 50 there. I mean, he cleared almost 100 grand on the weekend, which, like you said, for a guy like Bill Baylog, that's amazing to see. And this is only the beginning of the summer of money, too. I mean, he's gonna have a shot at Eldora. He's good at Eldora, too. He's not bad there, so we'll have big money there for 4 nights. And then Knoxville, he made the AMA in there last year. That's 15 grand to start the AMA at Knoxville. So there's plenty of opportunity for Bill Baylog to continue shining in 2025. I'm excited to see how he does.
Yeah, you mentioned the start money. There was $5,000 to start the finale at Husets. And a guy, I just wanted to mention this real quick because I feel like he's not getting enough credit. I mean, that was a tough field at Husets Speedway. I mean, there were 60 cars every night. You had all the Outlaw guys. You had a bunch of the High Limit guys, a bunch of the Midwesters. But how about, I mean, we cannot not talk about him. Was Ashton Torgerson made the show all 4 nights. And I want to say he walked away with like 10 grand just to start all those features. That is tough to do. I don't think many people would have had Ashton Torgerson to maybe even make 1 or 2 of the features, but he made all 4 of them. I thought that was super impressive. Yeah.
I mean, I'm assuming Bobby's still helping out on the 1A, Bobby and Jacob Allen. So, they have their stuff rolling. It's good to see. And, I'm assuming Ashton he had not been to Husets before last week, right?
Yeah, he'd never been there before. That was, and he started on the pole of one of the nights as well. So it was cool to see that. And Kyle Larson, we failed to mention that he was also a winner over there at Husets. That took place on Wednesday night, on the prelim night to the Hustle. So congrats to Larson, congrats to Kofoid, and congrats to Baylog as well on their victories on the week over there. I believe, if I'm not mistaken there, Brian, the next 100,000 to win race is at Eldora with us, the Joker's Jackpot. Is that right?
Yep. So we got Joker's Jackpot next for 5 figures. I tweeted it, or 6 figures. I tweeted it last night too. It was like, in the last year alone, 5 new guys have won their first ever 6-figure payday. We still have 5 more in 2025. Like, it's nuts. This year alone, we'll have 900,000 or more to win races. It was only 8 years ago, 2017, that there was 1. Like, It was the Knoxville Nationals, and that was all we had every year as far as really, really big money. And now there's 9 freaking races. That's crazy to think about. But yeah, I mean, we got 2 6 figures at Eldora. Then we go to Knoxville. High Limit goes west for Gold Cup, Skagit. It's going to be fun to watch unfold. And then obviously Knoxville.
Yeah, and then Husets announced the $300,000 to win their race next year on the finale as well. So we mentioned the Joker's Jackpot, and I'm not going to reveal too many details, but we do have an exciting announcement, I've been told, that comes out next week concerning that race. So looking forward to seeing how that goes, and I think a lot of people are going to be pretty excited with how that turns out. Tony, the Watkins Glen Internet is back. Do you have anything to add to the conversation?
Lots of big paying sprint car races.
Sure, yeah.
You guys remember when they said High Limit was going to ruin sprint car racing? That didn't happen. No, things are exciting right now. It was a fun weekend of getting to something that was really fun for me was each night we'd come back from the track here in New York after the sports cars were done, and me and a couple of the guys I work with are all in an Airbnb, and they'd come in each night because I'd have Dirt Vision on watching the Outlaw race, and they're asking 1,000 questions, right? And they're super interested in it. And they were blown away by the money, right? They were very interested. They were very eager to learn, man, how's the business model work? How are these guys doing this? What's the t-shirt revenue like? How many people are watching Flow? How many people are watching Dirt Vision? And it was really cool to expose it to some people. And, with a big, marquee event with a lot of money on the line, like, Husets, it was a perfect weekend. So, no, nothing else. Just excited to get back on the road with High Limit, get out to Lucas Oil. Been counting down the days till I see you guys again, so I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, I think we all are. And I don't know if I have much else to add here in this third segment, guy. Oh, I did want to mention this as well. Ohio Sprint Speedweek did wrap up, and did want to give a shout out to Danny Dietrich, as he was able to get the Ohio Sprint Week Championship over there. He also was able to get the $26,000 to win Dean Nittle Memorial at Atomic Speedway. Brian, were you able to catch any of the Ohio Sprint Week shows, or was Husets kind of taking up most of your attention there?
I didn't get to watch the last 2 nights. I saw pretty much every midweek show, I think. But it was good to see. I think it came down to did Cap wrecked the last night, and then Dietrich got the title, obviously, to the win and the title. That's a nice little walk-off win too, because the Nittle pays $26,000 to win. He got a bonus for winning Ohio Speedweek on top of what it already paid. So, I mean, it pays to get off the porch. I know. I think it was Gary Kaufman, the car owner, tweeted they had one goal going Ohio Speedweek, and it was they wanted to bring the title back to Pennsylvania, and they did just that. And PA Speedweek starts in next weekend probably. So I mean, they're gonna turn around and go try to win another title.
Yeah, that's pretty great to run 9 nights of Ohio Sprint Week and then 10 nights of PA Speedweek. Yeah. Danny Dietrich is kind of a psycho for that. But, he got, I think, $10,000 for the championship, $26,000 for that Atomic Speedway win. It was the richest paying Ohio Sprint Week of all time, so nice job by Rich Farmer and the All-Stars as well for what they put together over there. I don't think they had less than 33 cars for any of the races as well. So good stuff, and looking forward to seeing what that series will do coming up here over the next couple of weeks. So I think that's all we've got, Tony. Thanks for jumping on for maybe 2 minutes, losing connection for 18 minutes, and come back for 2 more minutes. It's great to see you, and we'll see you at Lucas Oil Speedway later on this week. Brian, enjoy your new house, and we will talk to all of you again next Tuesday here on the High Limit Room. We'll recap Lucas Oil Speedway, and we'll look forward to a couple more races coming up with High Limit Racing. I'm Chase Rodman. We'll talk to you guys again next week.